game that are weighing on him, whatever those are his business, and we all have dealt with things like that as well. However, as his longtime teammate and longtime friend, a lot of people reached out to me over the weekend and expressed concern over the way he sounded and the way he looked, and does it really feel like he wonders if he made a mistake coming back and whatever else it is. Are you concerned about Tom Brady right now?
I'm not concerned with Tom, the football player, but there's always things outside of the game that are distractions to even everybody, everyday guys that are going to work every day. You're dealing with stuff, and when you have a family, you have children. There's always stuff that's pulling you each way, and not only you're Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. He's got other things going on. He's got this branding. He's got everything that he has grown to this point. So, there's pressures involved, and then that recently there was talks of him possibly going to another team that wasn't the Bucs. So now at this point, we've just never seen Tom miss any time really in training camp, and it's vital time really when you're trying to build chemistry with a new offensive line, a new center, which is vital to the function of how he works as a quarterback. Everything's in front of him. So again, it's just concerning because we've never seen Tom miss time. Really?
And we have never seen Tom sort of look and sound like that. So I would ask you, have you? You were his teammate a long time. You saw the good moments and the very few bad ones, comparatively speaking, that he had. But that look on his face, that somewhat defeated body language, it was a little jarring. Have you seen it?
I would never count him out because he's one of the most competitive guys. And when he steps on the field, he's flipping the switch. And, that's the one thing that most athletes have the attribute of, when I step on the field, this is the place where I feel the most comfortable. And he's going to go out there and he's going to perform at a high level. I have no doubts about that. But again, those other things, now do they pull away from some of the preparation time and some of the things that you usually do to be prepared to make sure that when you're on the field that you're at your best? And that's the hard time. I mean, I think back to when I was playing and I had 2 kids and my wife, and you're being pulled each way. You're like, hey, I need to watch another hour of tape.
Right.
And no, I got to go do this doctor. I got to go to a doctor's appointment for the kid.
Right.
Pediatrician. So it's like, things as you get older, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Balance is complicated, and that's something that we all deal with in our own ways, but the demands on his time and all the rest of that are obviously somewhat unique in his circumstance. What sorts of things are you hearing?
Well, to the point of the preparation time, see, to me, I don't think there should be a race to count Tom Brady. Oh, this is it. It's over now. People have done that and been wrong, and he'll be done when he's done. But to the preparation time, when you talk to people in that building over the last couple of years, what you consistently hear is that when Tom's in the building, everything's great. Everything feels good. He breathes a lot of confidence in everyone around him. If he's not in the building for 11 days in training camp, that has an impact on the rest of the team, whether they say it does or not. If he's in the building, but he's not himself, right? You know what I mean? So, I don't, again, it's Tom Brady. He can do anything he wants. But there's enough there that you wonder now as they get ready for the season if they're doing it.
Just a quick cherry. When Tom Brady's on the field and he's telling you what to do, or like, hey, you need to be here. You need to sit here at 10. You need to go this way when the zone's there. Those are vital. That's vital. And it's different than a coach telling you that.
He's doing as much coaching as anybody else is during these practices. Final word. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.